Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Doki Literature Club Plus Side Stories, where things are looking really bad for the Literature Club. And I'm starting to think this is not a two-way thing, but a four-part because the next one is with Natsuki and Yuri, and that's not going to be 100% cool. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Let's just get right into it because you know what? It's getting really good, and it seems like the literature club is falling apart, and we're about to lose Yuri. Here we are. A new day arrives. So Yuri arrives at the clubroom earlier than usual. That is, not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at a desk and pulls out a sheet of paper, primed to jot down her thoughts. Yuri has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings on a paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve her best inspiration for poetry. ... My heart feels vacant because the ship sailed away. Yo! Yeah! Natsuki! Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. But it would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I doubt you want me listening in on your poetry thing. Yeah, thanks for realizing that. Should I let you finish that up then? Oh, no, it wasn't. I mean, I just do it whenever it's convenient. You're not interrupting. Where's Monica, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, it's just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri is too nervous to come into the clubroom by herself, so... Oh. Jeez, doesn't Yuri really let things bother her for that long? She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you get a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while. But as soon as it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back. I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid. Her opinion of me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty and I hate that too. It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't make you weak. ... Let's figure this out together. Fine. Whatever. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that will help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were before we had that conversation yesterday. What part of the conversation made you upset? Was it Yuri being mean about manga? Maybe, I doubt it though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time, but I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got to me this time, and I hate that I'm letting that happen. Is it because it came from Yuri? No, why would that matter? I mean, well, maybe. I hate that she thinks she's so much better than me, just because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide they don't like me, or manga, or whatever. But Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's books a chance? Ha! After this? Obviously not. What about before this? Well, I would until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually keep an open mind, then it's not hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. I see. But you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah, but you like manga more, right? So Yuri shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. I mean, the manga is really honest and fun and easy to just let go with. And the fantasy has a lot to interpret and uncover, and it's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So, I love them both. And I think there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. And I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. ... Silence. How do you get along with everyone so well? Cause I'm freaking epic, bro. I always get into fights with people. It's because you're a sadist. Like first it was with Monica when I was new to the club, and then it was you, and now it's Yuri. I'm always like, oh, that person's being such a jerk, and if they just realized that we could at least get along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality that everyone is just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. I don't know why. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki. I hope everybody hates you. Sayori puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as everyone else. Everyone has different ways they like to communicate, you know? And sometimes that makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky and we make friends who are really good at the same kinds of communication. And it feels like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if both people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles with a lot too. I blanked out on the last 2 word bubbles, so I don't know what's happening anymore. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of reflection, hint, and self-awareness and vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be the strongest. What do you mean? Tell me about that part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends, and I guess my dad. Like when I don't get good grades or even stupid things like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do? Cry about it? If I let myself get upset, then it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So, things always have to be everyone else's fault. Feels like if something goes wrong and there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault, then I just get really angry and I find ways to blame everything else instead. Do you see yourself as better than Yuri? ... If I said that, then I would just sound really full of myself. No. Our thoughts and our feelings are 2 different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand that if we want to learn more about themselves, that's part of vulnerability, you know? Accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. That she's a judgmental know-it-all who's stuck in her edgy phase, and then I'm just way above that garbage. But I'm terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You are not your feelings. But you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself out loud. ... Fine. I am not my feelings. The way that I like to picture it is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house and you gotta see each other every day. And even if you can't ignore each other most of the time, you're gonna run into each other every now and then. It's gonna make you feel like poop. So, the other option is to get to know each other. You can communicate and learn from each other and maybe even help each other change for the better. Does that help you understand? Silence. How do you know so much? How do you know so much about this stuff? ... I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with. Called depression. Wow. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. ... Silence. I want to be a good person like you. Aw, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monica. And I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Natsuki remained silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Yuri's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing through from a wound inside of her. Was it a result of her vulnerability? No, it wasn't as though she was inflicting a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she began to rediscover an old wound, one that cannot simply be bandaged and left alone any longer. But what does it mean? Okay. Sorry. Yo, stairs! Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Please don't yell at me. I'm not going to yell at you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time, I won't just try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. I can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? ... Yuri pauses for a second, then manages a nod. Monica takes a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns and I can't get away from them. What kinds of negative thought patterns? Like everyone hates me, especially Natsuki. And Yuri, you're not wrong for thinking that. I'm gonna be honest. Oh, that's terrible. Wow, thanks. Monica, great. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because Monica thinks back to the time that she herself found herself in an altercation with Natsuki, and how a display of maturity from Monica was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. She's like a little dog. She's very cute, but the second there's something that exists, she gets really angry and barky. But you know, she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she could be really thoughtful and considerate. She's just, well, I guess the way it works is that she wants to receive some degree of kindness first before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh. Okay. But that means the burden is on me. I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs at her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up about it. I think anyone like you, if they had the chance to get to know you. I think anyone would like you if they had, whatever. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. Monica, have you been paying attention? That's why I'm not the talkative. That's why I know Taka anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me behind my back. That's just what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said that she found it more respectable when people speak their mind. So I did, and then she hated me anyway. That was enough to confirm my fears. But see, Yuri and I like you. We've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Silence. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. It's not what I meant, really. I was just wondering if you had an opinion about her. ... I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just a state of being that we don't always have control over. That doesn't mean they have to control us. I feel like that's something I learned when I first started the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things, Or we can, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I can never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about you, it's about how you handle them. And yeah, I think you're working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Dot dot dot. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're so mature. And so good with people. It's so hot. I mean, I feel like such a child in comparison. Their outfits are shaded differently. I don't know if that's just me or what, but they're absolutely shaded differently. Oh well, anyway, I feel such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri, I am far from perfect. But these are learned skills, and they don't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. Dot dot dot. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. That's not good enough. I want to be able to communicate it to her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Wow! Because I know that's what it feels like to be misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just a defense mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of that getting in the way. I can't stand it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? Because silence. The literature club should be happy for everyone. ... Monica looks at Yuri in adoration. I feel like Sayori must be rubbing off on me, because I really want to hug you right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, I mean, well, if you wanted to, then I wouldn't really mind, so... Monica pulls Yuri into a short embrace. You're so gentle. And I love when you communicate your feelings. It's so attractive of you. I feel lucky to get to see that side of you. And I'm sure Natsuki will too. Silence. I'm going to write her a letter. Oh, a letter. What a great idea. Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. I always let my feelings get the best of me, and I forget to say all the important things, and I say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. That is something I agree with. Letters are awesome. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. What is this, Undertale? People don't naturally gravitate towards me because they feel like people don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you or Sayori. Pause again. And we're back. Okay, now we're back. My personality just isn't suited for that. And I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned is that friendships don't always just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayori. We're opposite in a lot of ways. But I'm friends with her because she puts so much effort into understanding me so that we can get along. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience. And I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be somebody that I'm not. That there's a type of person or a magic formula I have to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think of that. I'm always so preoccupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when you think about the other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them and respect them and trust that they always want to be a good person, or that they always also want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observations in the literature club. Observations? Monica is caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her suddenly talking about the club like this. But Yuri smiles gently to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about people. So Yuri too. It makes me happy because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea it meant that much to you. Monica never thought of it, but in the past weeks, Yuri always seemed to be especially attentive when it came to the problems and concerns of others. Always wanting to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. Cool. It's true. Yuri and Monica are naturally more comfortable with people and can easily work through situations in conflict. Monica not so much, we've covered this. But that doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and the capacity to improve. And the first step towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monica can recognize as an incredible trait. Yes. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. Not mine. It's all falling apart still to me. A very shy girl with long, pretty hair is wandering the bustling lunchtime hallways, her fists pressed against her collarbone. When she finds the literature club president's classroom, she stands at that door, glancing all around her, before peering inside. Monica is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends. Yeah, as expected, this was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monica glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Is this Yuri, or is this someone else? Before she can regain composure and decide to force her to leave, the classroom door gently opens. Yuri! What a surprise to see you during lunch. Yuri squeaks a response. Please help me. Okay. Well, I was right, I guess. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. Well, that's good news, always. Uh-oh. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness. I thought there was some kind of emergency. Monica briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We can go find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad for taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We weren't really doing anything. One sec. Monica trots back into her classroom, says something like, I gotta go, to her friends, then grabs a pen off her desk before returning to Yuri. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. The girls' bathroom, I bet. That's where girls go. Most of the time, yes. Yuri nods and follows Monica as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Well, yes. Oh, oh gosh, sorry, I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today. I'm just tired. I never seem to get enough sleep during the week. How come? Oh, I don't know. I think I'm just easily distracted. I get really sucked into things and start neglecting the time. Me too. I do that too. We're so relatable. Hey, this classroom is empty. Let's go in here. After appearing inside, Monica opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monica pulls two chairs up to the same desk, then obeys as Monica beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. It's my chance to do something good. I need to take initiative. Gosh, you must really be determined. I know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes through her anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper from her notebook. Then she picks up her pen. Hold on. Guys, It's your girls. Look at them. They're doing stuff. They're writing a letter, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. You got your thing. Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Oh, she is. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, Yuri's left-handed. Cool. Whatever. Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Ah, yeah. Now I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Monica playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's. Sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start by listing the different things you want to say to her? Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. Oh, that's okay. It's about some of the things how about some of the things you said to me yesterday? But never mind, I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, her tension evident. Then, she writes the word reflection. Wow, this is about my reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but we have been able to separately be friends with Sayuri and Monica. That's me! Wow! That's awesome! Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks, I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests, okay? The same goes for Natsuki too. We started off as pretty hostile towards each other because I was so worried about getting what I wanted. But she just wanted to be respected more than anything else. Once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kinds of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her that I like to receive. Okay. I like when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously. I like when you and Sayuri trust that I want to be a good person, even when I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down. Okay. Monica writes something down. Oh, some things down. Sorry. I think the most important thing to remember is that Natsuki is feeling vulnerable. So we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never hurts to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them and listen to them, and admit the things that you feel you could do better. Then finally, you ask what you would like in return. Oh, I almost threw up. Don't worry about it. How does that sound for the structure? It could be 3 paragraphs, one for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts were so disorganized. I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know? They're looking at each other. Wow! Anyway, spent so much time reflecting and being open-minded. That's the hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it on a piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Monica gives Yuri a quick hand squeeze. But as she lets go, she gets caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to hook Monica's hands in place. For a while, they just sit like that in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Uh-oh. Ah. No, this isn't the sad music. We're good. We're fine. Yesterday, you told me something that I'm thinking a lot about. Yeah. What was that? They're holding hands, guys. You can't see it on the thing, but they're definitely holding hands. The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, and that they're just a state of being we need to come to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always just how they decide to be. It also made up for their past experiences and their insecurities. Oh, it's also made up of. I think that helps me see other people as actual people, rather than as insignificant side characters who are out to get me somehow. Yeah. Is that how you feel about Natsuki? Yuri nods. Yuri's eyes look good. They look kind of weird, but at the same time really cool, and I don't know how to feel about it. Also, her hair looks really cool in this scene, but whatever. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best, and everyone wants to be happy. Monica peers over at Yuri's paper, but in her surprise, Yuri pulls it closer, partially covering it with her arm. I have to be able to read it to help out, you know. It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now after being able to talk to you about it. Now that I'm actually putting it on paper, I realize I really prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughs softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kind of glad to hear that, actually. I somehow always keep finding ways to butt into this whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's also been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but... Yuri smiles. I will always be terrible about these things. Like talking. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I'll never get the hang of being one. But listen, listening to you so much has really helped me make sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monica gives Yuri a gentle smile. In silence. I can't believe I came to this club looking for the fair for fantasy geeks, and all I got was real friends who value me. Dang, what a ripoff. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I still can't tell with you. Sorry. Yuri blushes much. No, I love it. Please never change. As you wish. Sus. Yuri glances at the clock. We're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day, probably. But I don't want to come to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can give it to her instead if you like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales and the two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Monica nods. Good luck, and I'm here if you need me. Yuri returns a nod, and the two depart. And thus they went their separate ways. Oh, that was it. Okay. Well, that was intriguing. So yeah, it looks like this is going to be like a 4-part arc thingy. Which looks like is going to end with these two. Wow. What a nice adventure. Well, thank you all for joining me on this grand adventure. I realize I can hold on. Alright, I adjusted the volume of the microphone a little bit. I hope it isn't ear-piercingly loud now. But I am a little more audible. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, like it, save it, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. I don't really care. If anything, just rewatch it again over and over and make me feel good about myself. Anyway, goodbye. You'll see me in the next one. See ya.